staring. Got me wearing strange stuff. You think I'm loco? It's just a poncho. Heads are turning one by one. What have you done? Mato waka. Got me yearning. A bonfire trance got me drumming. Sun is rising. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice in.
I can bring you a mind. I like the way you do. Love is the only true remedy. I open up to it and I receive it. I am me. I am everything. Skimming vibes. No one is enemy. Are you hearing me?
It's my call out. Pocahontas, you think I'm loco? You think I'm crazy? Maturaka. Pocahontas, heads are turning one by one. What have you done? Maturaka. Pocahontas, purple goddess, got me wearing crystals. You think I'm loco? Maybe un poco. Heads are burning one by one. This shit is fun. Abracadabra, inside my chakra. Sit down for a while, meditate, you fly high. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice in. Shut the mice. Heads are burning one by one. This shit is fun.
Polka got mad flow. My rhythm tight, so I stretch like the trees grow.
What?
It's a Mata Waka fire show.
We let it burn. If you would trigger, then you must go. So polka no bad beat. My whip kindness, I kill him with that LOV. Yeah. It's a Mata Waka fire show. We let it burn in the night. It's my call, y'all. I'm everything.
Today is the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to refine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will be free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you are the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instinct, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, opinion how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you.
straight. Use these dead MCs as bait. This is shut the wall. Let's be real, let's be straight. Use these dead MCs as bait. Use this fish out the water. Somebody please pick up your. Let's be real, let's be straight. Use these dead MCs as bait. Use this fish out the water. Somebody please pick up your mate. You don't want it with the mum or the daughter. Yeah, it's lyrical slaughter, babe. You can't catch me at this rate. No, you can't catch me at this. I make the picture bigger, I zoom in. Got a lyrical jigger is blooming. Hits hard like liquor and cumin. Sometimes get so mad just fuming. I'll step through, yeah, I'll fumigate. Like when's the event, man, send the date. When it comes to the rave, there's no debate. Got a flight to catch running through the gate. Swoop down and grab like a seagull. Too much energy, it's lethal. Was here for the madness times like forward nights, like plastic people. Like London nights, so the things aren't legal. Yeah, but you're gonna learn good and evil. 2K league, yeah, that's people. Yeah, that's energy, yeah, that's cool.
Make me cool. Don't make me cool. Don't make me cool. Don't make me
Cool, let's be real, let's be straight. Use these dead MCs as bait. Use this fish at the water, oh. Somebody please pick up your mate. You don't want it with the mum or the daughter. Yeah, it's lyrical slaughter, babe. You can't catch me at this rate. No, you can't catch me at this. Let's be real, let's be straight. Use these dead MCs as bait. Use this fish at the water, babe. Somebody please pick up your mate. You don't want it with the mum or the daughter. Yeah, it's lyrical slaughter, babe. You can't catch me at this rate. No, you can't catch me at this.
Ta-da! Hey, that's the playlist right there. There's the Roll20. We're going to be building all this from scratch as we go along. Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. All right, so we got some work to do here, and figured we would two birds, one stone this by making it a little Roll20 tutorial. I know we've had a number of new players join us over the last few months. Or actually, I stand corrected. We've had a number of new players who joined us a few months ago or prior to that. It's been a number of months since we've had new people join us. But it's been a long time since I've done any kind of tutorial in this regard. So let's do a little bit of that by creating an all new game. Yes, indeed, here on Roll20. I gotta set this to role-playing unlimited standards. This is gonna be the new Friday crew table. Starting this Friday, there will be no session 0. We're just gonna jump right into it and see where we go from there. We will still be playing 2014. I don't want to use Legacy. I don't want to use Jump Gate. That is correct. A lot of one-shot mods here in case you want to do that. I do not. I guess I do all the settings stuff once the game is created. It used to be that I would create it all in there before I hit the official create the game button, but whatever. Token markers. Role-playing Unlimited has a few. We have the status effect icons. Not that we created these, we just have access to them. Oops, that's not going to help if I don't select anything. Marvel, no. Earthdown, no. Side quest, I think this is the other one we use. Status effect and side quest. Include those. We go to settings, game settings. Big stuff here. Wow, that's funny. I was going to say, in all the years I've been on Roll20, it's only been Magic, Matrix, and Field, and they finally added this new Jump Gate one here, which is a space backdrop. Kind of cool. I think we'll go with the tried and true Field. 2024 version. Ironically, it's going to be 2027 before we even get to that, because it's too much of a headache trying to convert even the existing characters and templates over to the 24 version. And I've had a number of people make comments to that effect, have a barrage of questions to that effect that have just made it very clear that a direct seamless transition from 14 to 24 is not going to be possible. Nor do I want to have people create new characters who have already gone through the process of doing that and established their characters in the campaign itself. So we're gonna finish Act 5 and Act 6, which is our 3-act middle trilogy that is expected to take from 2024, when we kicked it off last year, all the way into 27 itself. Yes, indeed. So that's when we will create our next batch of new characters across all of our tables. Always with an eye towards the future, you know. Game default settings. Alright, here's one major quality of life for myself. Board color, dark mode. I do not like to have all my new maps all of a sudden just a blinding glare of light right in my face. Likewise, bar location, bottom overlapping. I don't like the hit point bar above the tokens. As you know, we've all got them kind of slightly overlapping with the bottom part of our tokens. All of these I tend to set individually per token, because you shouldn't always be able to see all of what the bars are. If this is all just looks like gibberish to you, that makes complete sense. If you've never created a game on Roll20 before, there is one other setting. Is it here? Okay, well we do want no, I don't think we do want every map to have that, because we're changing that around. I think this was the setting that I always had active, and it's in a new area entirely in the backdrop or dynamic lighting setting, so we'll just leave that alone. New foreground settings, they're still in beta mode on that, so I think we're okay keeping that as is. That will be our game default settings right there. We'll save that. Make sure all of that took. Dark mode, bottom overlapping, beautiful. Dynamic lighting barriers will restrict token. That's what we wanted. That's what we want set right there. Okay. Okay. Character Mancer, milestone, always roll advantage. Yes, auto roll damage. For some reason it has that set incorrectly. Tiebreaker to initiative. Character name on templates, nice little detail. The rest of this stuff is pretty good to keep as is. Ammo tracking, that's always been a bit wonky right there. I don't mess around with it too much. Save changes to the whole page right there. And then one final bit in there. Content sharing, we're going to remove from Camp Clearwater Massacre. It's going to be better part of a year before we get back over to that. And we're going to open up content sharing with this game right here. So yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Swan and Stew, J-Man's Table, they all have access to our compendium. As you can see here, a number have been... Oh wait, that's for the wrong table. So I'm going to have to go through all this whole process right here. Shoot. Okay. Cobalt Press. We're going to take anything Cobalt Press off of the books. Likewise, anything 24 we're going to take out just to avoid confusion. Wizards, Baldur's Gate, Wizards, some of these third-party publishers are okay for us to keep, especially if they have Baldur's Gate mentioned into there, or any of these tavern-based ones. I think those we've kept in. Cobalt Press, however, no. Although, now that I see that, I need to go back, because I do keep Cobalt Press monsters in here. A little secret for those of you who may not have known that already. Tavern Tales, yeah, we did keep those in. Deep Magic, we took those out. Those are the most broken ones right there. That's where all the broken spells come from, or these three books right here. Great ideas for the magic, but a lot of them certainly not play tested properly. Yeah, good spot right there. We got more 24 books still selected for addition. Need to take those out. DMG, Dragonlance, Esper Genesis, that's another one we take out. That's its own campaign setting entirely, which worked well with the futuristic story that we were telling as part of Coalescence 1 through 3. Doesn't really mesh in too well with our current thing. It actually has all new classes and features in there, which are very similar to 5e standards. They just have different names and slightly tweaked abilities. So yeah, Tome of Beasts, I do keep the monsters in here because with 6 tables, I need to have like so many more monsters than I ever needed before, just to ensure every table has their own kind of theme and challenges. So that's the main reason for that. I think anything deprecated as well we can take out. Legacy version, likewise. Anything that's not been updated to current-ish standards, not 2024, but that gray area between 14 and 24 where they did do some overhauls on some of these things. Ooh, a creature codex. I might have to add that because, yeah, we're starting to run low on monsters. And the cute creatures compendium, I think I can challenge you guys on all manner of levels with that, just to lure you in with a false sense of security. Okay, I never did get the tails, but that's the entire module. The main stuff that we have are source books. Eberron is good. Tome of Beast 2 and 3, likewise good. Fizzban. Free basic rules. I don't think we need that if we've got the official stuff. Uncaged, I don't recognize that. Player's Guide, we'll take that out. Vault of Magic. Likewise, Xanathars. Good, good, good. Lost notes to everything else. A lot of these are through drive-by or drive-in RPGs. Roll20 has affiliated with them, so there's a lot of other source material here that we could potentially add in, which is, I guess, like semi-approved, hopefully of a better playtest standard than we found from Kobold Press. Not to bash Kobold Press, I love their content. We've just discovered that some of their material, even like lower level spells, are just like, whoa, that's insane. All right, content sharing settings, good, good, good. Beaut. All right, that sets us up, I think, officially for our Friday crew game. Now, let's get in there. Very true, especially the low-level spells. It was like, ironically, the higher-level spells were a bit more balanced, but the lowers not so much. Unfortunately, no matter what you do for game default settings, the first map they give you is always Blinding White, so that's the first move I make. Second move now, since they've changed some of the preferences. I'm really just talking to myself here because nobody's interested in this at all. But I need my... yeah, here's another thing. We do not use any chat whatsoever. That's going to reset the page. Just turning that off. Every so often we'll try. We'll go back into Roll20 and try to use their voice and video connection, and we'll get like 15-20 minutes into it, and it's like, hey, this is working pretty good. And then we start experiencing the same issue as always. So hopefully one day they get their voice and video up to a usable standard for our needs. I think also I need to move our chat box over to here because that looks a little stupid. There we go. I'm doing what now? I'm the keyboard shortcuts. I don't even know. There it is. Use the scroll to zoom. I like the scroll for this, not for the up-down. I prefer holding the right and moving them around the map like this. That gets us set up right there. Okay. Now we need to transmogrifier. Miscellaneous. Transmog here is the full list of games that I have run on Roll20 in 10 years and 1 month of being on this platform. Maybe a few games. Look, there's one name tutorial. Seems like that would have been optimal to use for this situation, but we're building a new game page anyway, so why not? I think it is Sunday G1 from last year. That's right, there's a Bible adventure too that somebody gifted me that's pretty interesting. I've not delved completely into it, but it's I've had it rather interesting that somebody created a tabletop like that. There's a number of Christian TTRPG groups out there as well that I've found rather interesting addition and radical departure from the satanic panic that I grew up with and still, in some respects, have the joy of dealing with. But what am I? Okay, legacy backup. I may need to restore these pages too. Shoot, yeah, that might be. Is there was one named Decilia. I think I might have luck. It's frozen due to inactivity. That's what I thought might be the case. Okay, so we need to close this. Exit game. Very interesting indeed. I have actually have one game that's constructed with it. I'll jump in there real quick if I happen to scroll past it. Just give you an idea what it looks like. Damage report, that was from last year. Descent, it's like a D&D style board game that once in a while we'll get a party of friends together to play around with. Enemir, Vecna, Vengeance, a lot of Coalescence stuff. Trying to find that Isilia page. I had 8 pages to go through here. J-Man's campaign from last year. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, another board game that we kind of converted to digital play during the pandemic. Marvel Multiverse, that is one that I need to kick off. I've got a couple of games in that respect. A couple of books that I would like to get an interested party together to play. Yeah, 5e, we'll take a couple minute delve down into this route, put some pineapple on pizza. That reminds me, I've got a pizza delivery order on its way here. Estimated delivery right now, they're in my complex. Well, that's some good news, because I am hungry. Alright, so yeah, we got Jerusalem, maps for that. Hope, yeah, and the stuff is all set for scroll instead. I've not really read through the entire plot, but I definitely did delve enough into here to find if our Lord and Savior is included, if somebody tried to make a character sheet. And sure enough, hey, that's some good news right there, Kimberly. I don't know, I might have scrolled right past Jesus, but if not, yeah, we've got some, we've got Abaddon, one of the demons or devils, Mammon, likewise, the Swarm of Abaddon, so a lot of familiar tropes here for anybody who's delved into the Bible, knows some of that history. I think it was Sarah who purchased this for me like a year plus ago. And let me jump off camera here real quick to put some pizza on a plate, and we will be right back with you, friends. Oh woo woo, oh woody woo woo. Okay, we are back, friends, and I'm gonna jump off camera here while I stuff my face. Which stuff, the Marvel or the Bible? I can add you as a guest GM or player if you want to ever have a look-see at it. Easy peasy. And the average life expectancy back then was 30, so like you were moving into your first apartment at 5, getting divorced at 8, moving into the senior citizens home at like 16. People be like, man, yeah, he's pretty sharp for an 18-year-old. Matthew looking pretty vital here at this point in time. Not too bad. Peter says numbers are for nerds. We'll see who he turns to when Rome comes for his taxes. I feel like there's like a subconscious level where people, because the stories are so old, they feel like the people themselves had to have been old, even though you take a second to peer through and you see the ridiculousness of that. But otherwise, I think we got a geezer here. Oh yeah, look at Peter. Oh yeah, he's ancient. This is the way right here. Look at that. Armor class. Hit points. Non-existent. Who cares? That's pretty awesome.
Got no invitation last night. I analyze their body language. I hear every change in their tone. Maybe they hate me, somehow I blame me. My mama said that's just the weight of the world.
You got verses attached to the abilities themselves. That's somebody did their homework. Whatever your beliefs may happen to line up with, it's clear somebody created this from a place of love. All right, so let's get back to. Oh, now we gotta go all the way back through. I think we were on page 6. Darn, I was worried this might be the case. Do I have at least... I do at least have the regional map here. This is what I need. Okay. Yeah, the rest of this is actually the very shortly lived Roll20 Unlimited tabletop system that I created. I was creating my own homebrew tabletop because I was frustrated with elements of every TTRPG that I had played. Yep, there's a red hold. G1 spent a fair amount of time over in this section right here. Oh, actually, this might be... Yeah, this is not the Roll20 Unlimited tabletop system. This is the second, and also we had to bail out, the second attempt to play on the moon of Asilia with a group of Australian and French players that I had linked up with on Facebook. And that time difference was just too brutal. I was starting games at 10 p.m. Pacific, going till 1 a.m. so that they could start at like 10 a.m., noon, whatever their time happened to be, and we just could not make things line up. Small group of 4 as well, so if one person was absent, it was very noticeable. It wasn't until the Sunday G1 group came into fruition that we were able to finally give this a third go and get some adventures done in this section at least. But yeah, that Australian French group, we actually played near the center area over here. I gave them actually free reign of which section we wanted to start at. I think the other option was down here near Fairfields, and then the other was Brando City, and the other was up here up in the Canyon area. They chose the Brando City option. But let's get this copied. This is what I need. I need to transmog this from here over to the new Friday campaign that I just created. Friday EG. It's because it's not updated to jump gate. That's why. Miscellany. Personalization. Convert. Okay. Oh, this lunch is good. Trying to scarf through it as quick as I can so I can reduce the voice delays here, but we've got a basic character sheet here, El Generico. We're going to use the Character Mancer to go through that basic process, and then we're going to just kind of show a couple of role-playing unlimited standards, show you around some areas of the sheet that you might not be familiar with. This will be more of the notable side of the tutorial, I would imagine, that any players might find use in. We're going to go with a tried and true Mountain Dwarf. Very first character I ever played was a Mountain Dwarf. He died very shortly into the campaign, so for whatever reason I have had a very fond affinity for dwarves ever since. And we're going to go Dwarf Fighter, about as simple as it gets. New players, I always recommend starting with Fighter. Maybe Rogue, but Fighter is going to give you your most solid foundation for system mechanics across the board. You'll be able to see how other players control their characters, which will give you ideas for how you can create yours later on. It's vastly simpler, I think, than trying to create a spellcasting character from scratch from the go and hitting the ground running. I've seen very simple mistakes made, such as lack of knowledge of spell slots, to other things of just not being aware of casting times, basic spell effects. They see the name of the spell and they assume it has a broader spectrum of what it can actually do. So clear that spell effects and descriptions have not been read. They're the most complex classes to play because they have the most mechanics involved with them. Something like this, you're going to get a taste for fighting. You're going to get a taste for all of the general mechanics that will be of use to you. I am a DWC guy, defense wins championships, so I tend to go defense with my fighters, although that's not always the case, but a lot of my NPC fighters that you guys will encounter, I'll tend to throw that for them. Standard array is our tried and true. You get a 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. Strength will benefit us. Constitution is something a dwarf is going to get a bonus to, so maybe we can throw something kind of on the lower end over there. Dexterity will be useful as a fighter, but if we're going to go heavy armor, it might be restricted a bit in that respect, so maybe we started off 14 and don't really plan on improving from there. And from there, it's kind of a grab bag between our mental stats. Wisdom is arguably the one we're going to encounter the most saving throws on, so that will be handy. And then, yeah, you got to dump one of them, intelligence or charisma. I think we'll go intelligence for this one. Not me, no. Even when I don't min-max my characters, I still don't put their lowest in their best attribute. I might put like a 10 or a 12 in the strength and then try and build it up from that spot. But man, trying to start with an 8 as a fighter, I don't even know if that's possible. I think 9 is the minimum, isn't it? I don't know if Roll20, I don't think it does. I don't think Roll20 catches things like that too, like attribute minimums for class requirements or for multi-classing requirements, I don't think they catch that. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. And when I was looking over everybody's characters that morning, I was like, no way, they all got 8. Ah, I'm going to crush them all. Yeah, we'll have our dwarf somehow speak Yuuzhan Vong against all definable logic. And you've got your personality stuff here. You can always roll them or choose them. I usually choose them, but let's go for a roll this time around. That reminds me. Couple other quality of life upgrades here. Most of us know how to do this by now, but if not, audio video, video display, change these 2 names only, frees up a lot of tabletop space for you, especially as more players log in and this whole area of the map becomes crowded with avatars. Additionally, dice options, looks like we're good to use 3D dice nowadays. It's not bogging down our system as much as it used to. Text chat options, I turn off that little bloop, bloop. Otherwise, it sounds off like 1,000 times per session, and it drives me bonkers. The timestamps are a nice little upgrade right there, I feel like, just in case. Man, I remember back in the day when you didn't have the luxury of class equipment. You just had to roll for coin and then look through the book and find everything that you thought was useful, and then you get into the field and realize, oh, I didn't bring this basic thing. It was interesting. Is this usual for you guys when you're creating your characters? Is antimatter rifle a standard weapon that it allows you to start with? It is in the DMG, but I don't think I've ever seen that before. Man, the encumbrance rules in this system feel very restrictive. I've only got my starting equipment and I'm already like, oh god, it's too much. Okie dokie. Lunch is mostly complete. This section of the sheet right here, if I have done my job well and the game settings have taken, you should probably never need to visit here except under the occasional circumstance, being initiative style. If you get something that gives you advantage to initiative, that's where you add it in. Likewise, any potential modifier to your initiative, any modifiers to your attributes themselves. We haven't established a standard on this yet, but I do kind of like what some players have taken to doing, especially if they are our upper tier subscribers, annual subscribers, epic subscribers, what have you. Rather than just manually updating their attributes right here and adding notes wherever here on the bio sheet that indicates strength score was originally such and such, is now blah 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 because of subscription. They just make the changes here. So if they've got the six points for each attribute, let's say we put 3 on strength, 3 on con, we come back here and now they're blue, which indicates they have been improved upon in some way. We don't really know how, but if I come over to here, I can see exactly where that came from. And then when you complete whatever your second or third level of the Lost Dice Challenge, and you get some more attribute points, say 2 points, whatever the case is, you add it right there to intelligence. Now I can see that intelligence has been improved, or if I hover over it, what the original value is. You'll see similar things happen to your character sheet if you get... what's a good one? Let's take the intelligence bonus away. Let's put on a headband of intellect. For those unfamiliar with this is one of the greatest features of Roll20. Headband of, I get headband of intellect. I drag and drop the thing onto the character sheet, accepting drop. You don't have to release it inside the box. You release it all the way up here if you want, whatever. You will see the item appear on the character sheet. You will also see the instant reflection of the item having been attuned and applied right here, as in a 19 intelligence, a vast improvement over the 8 that my guy was rocking earlier. Likewise, if you just unequip the item, it takes it off of that just like so. So you don't have to necessarily remove items. You can always unequip what have you using the checkbox. Other quality of life thing right here I don't think a lot of players have paid attention to is the padlock. And you'll see that all over the character sheet in multiple sections. Padlock right here, let's say for equipment. The red hashtag is going to delete anything that you click on once you've opened up that padlock. But this right here is how you can slide items around into order of priority. Headband of Intellect is probably going to be the best item that this character possesses at this level, so I want it up there near the top of my gear. I've got my character item based off of my background, the scroll case stuffed with notes, and my trusty winter blanket. Anything after that is my headband, my chainmail, etc., and so on. Same thing with weapons. This is how I know players aren't paying attention to this area right here. Let's say that the best thing ever happens one day and my character gets himself a Vorpal bowline? What the hell is that? Bowline? It's a sickle. Okay. So let's say one day I get my hands on a Vorpal longsword. Drag drop that onto the sheet. It's at the bottom. This is an item that any player who knows what this item is worth is going to immediately make their top item. If they're OCD and have things in any kind of order of operations. Likewise, pay attention to damage types of any items that you drag over to your sheet. This one you'll notice is greatly different from the ones below it. Click the gear cog right here to open up any information about your weapons. For whatever reason, the Vorpal sets it as a template rather than as the weapon, even though you can see they clearly have longsword, scimitar. Vorpal sword should be maybe the template. Longsword, greatsword should be predefined. But yes, the longsword is a die 10, I'm sorry, a die 8 or a die 10 with the versatile property. Slashing damage in either case. Physical is also accepted in our community. Here is one of our homebrew upgrades. If you are not familiar with how to add this onto your character sheet, here is the crit box right there. If your damage is a die 8, then your crit damage is a flat 8. If it's a die 10, it's going to be a flat 10. So anytime you roll an attack and you get a crit, it's going to roll that die 10 and it's going to add an automatic 10 because you've gotten a critical strike. It's a good way for us to kind of beef up some of our attacks in that respect. Let's attack with the Vorpal Longsword right now. Situations like this can be a little confusing until we all get used to the formula. We get used to knowing that the number on the left is because he attacked one-handed. This is attacking two-handed. Do another transmogrifier here from one of our current coalescence pages. Bring over the handout that I always have available. Not sure how easy it is for players to find it. So I'm thinking I will change this around, place it in a different spot. Roll20 features, I believe that's it. Next time we do the Camp Clearwater thing, I may not allow the players to know who's going to be at the table with them, so there's no strategy. We'll see what everybody creates if we can go even more chaotic than everybody having an 8 strength score. Roll20 features. This is one I put together early 23 when we had a bunch of new players come into the community. If you've not seen it, it's in the handouts folder of your game, but I'm going to start dragging it so it's at the very top of the journal, more easily accessible for anybody who needs it. Yeah, we had some solid games all around on Friday the 13th. I was blessed to have so many people join on one of my favorite holidays there. So if you're not familiar with how to do the manual rolling option right here, if you're still using the dice roll right here, nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but you do notice it seems to max out, I think, at 6 dice. So the max you'll ever be able to roll is 6 dice 6, which is not handy for you at all Well, I suppose this right here, you can do the advanced roller and potentially get better, so that's cool. But yeah, I was going to say, if 6 is the max it's given you, that's not going to help you with a fireball spell, because by minimum, that's an 8 dice 6 setup as it is. Infinite dice, exploding, penetrating dice, compounding dice. I think that's for specific systems like Fudge and House Rule, what have yous. Okay. But I've never really used the dice roller, so I'm kind of pleased to see how advanced they've made it. I'll check into it once in a while. I have always just done the / roll 1 die 20, and then I get a lot of fat finger things like that, to where I end up with a D290. Not too bad, if that's the die we're calling for. But the actual roll right here, now we've got the 3D dice turned on. I pretty much always change my color to just the basic white, because we spend a lot of time in darker areas of the dungeons. Especially with a dark backdrop, the white just tends to show up a little better for the player's benefit. The emotes tool works well if you want to do emotes in the chat log. Alternatively, the !CEM. I do have to add that API feature into our game, which I did not do in this setup. Might as well do that now. It's another easy tutorial bit we can jump into. This is your API scripts box right here. And yes, the red bars let you know this is an advanced feature. It can potentially destroy your game. I have had that happen one time in 10 years on Roll20, I believe. I'm firmly convinced it was entirely my fault. I was doing too much experimentation without making copies of my game to begin with. Nowadays, I'm a bit more proficient with how to do the mods. And it's all simple drag drop right here. I mean, if you know how to build your own macros and mods, you've got the sandbox right here to do so. I like to just use what has been tried and true. First and foremost, the color emote. That's how we get that !CEM, so you guys are able to do text play with a little bit more oomph to it, so to speak. Additionally, I used to use the group initiative, but it was breaking down too often, so it's been like a year plus since I've actually used that. You guys are back to rolling your own initiative values now, which I think most players prefer. I do like the It's a Trap thing. It used to be called Trap Master, and I think I want the official gaming license version of it right there. It requires other scripts to function. Yes, it's going to install a bunch of other mods right here, as we can see. Yes, all of that. Here's all this technical jargon that I don't understand. There's all kinds of things you can add in here. You can even add in like a door knocker and door opening sound effect for if players click on the door. If you've got all kinds of computer power and your players likewise are running on some pretty advanced features, you can add a great variety of upgrades to your page. I went through their tutorials a month or so ago to see if there was anything new that I really wanted to use from here, and there wasn't really anything that spoke to me. The biggest thing was the adding visual descriptors to tokens when players hover over it. I think that was the big thing that we had added in. Most of the rest of this I feel like could be fun upgrades, but are greatly likely to just kind of bog down our system. I know a lot of players are playing on laptops, which that alone is going to be an iffy experience at best, and then when you start adding animations and macro scripts to the backdrop, it can unfortunately restrict players' ability to get in on the game. Alright, so I think that ought to set us up there. Get us back to Friday Crew, get back into the game. I think we're just about done with the tutorial-ish side of things. Oh gosh, it's so bright. There we go. We'll just test it out to make sure this works right here. Hello, test, and yes. As we have to discuss before, the color you click here at the bottom next to your name will indicate what color all of your interactions use, whether it is the ruler, whether it's your ping, whether it's the backdrop for your text play here in the chat. One other feature I will show you guys here, if I can even remember how to do this. The script is deprecated. Please use the generic trap theme instead. Okay, so apparently I added the wrong API. I was going to try to toy around with that. We very seldom use these because it's a very advanced feature and everything needs to work just right. But I guess this one right here, it's a trap. Let's delete that script. Let's go back to, oh, what's this one right here? It's a trap as well. Oh, shoot. Now I'm uncertain. I feel like I just need to delete all of this. Matrix, vector, token, HTML. This all looks familiar, so I feel like we want to add trap generic is what they said. 5e generic, okay. And add script. It has dependencies. Better used by other scripts. There's a possibility they might conflict with each other. I don't like that. Alright. I think we need to just delete everything. Aside from that color emote. HTML. I used to be able to build web pages with HTML. Now I'm like, I don't remember any of it. Half math. Good gracious. Delete. Okay, trap generic. Let's try this again. Yes, requires other scripts to function. That's what we want. Can't wait to get to that, back to that Camp Clearwater and find the desiccated body down in the caverns that has the magenta sunsaw and the pouch with the potions of healing. That'll be a fun little connection right there. Okay, if I can make this happen in like 10 minutes or less, then I will try to do so. Do I have, how do I, trap theme, it now automatically detects which character sheet, yes, 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 but how do I activate trap? That doesn't work. I think, okay, here it is. So first we're going to need a basic dungeon map. Let's just load up one of our many assets. That's wrong. Searching purchases. This always takes a second.
You pull your hair on a back slit.
Oh boy, what's happening? What's happening? It's not working. Alright, let's just do something manually then. Let's find a day at the bunker. Sure, why not? We've already done this map here with the Tuesday group. So, slightly familiar ground here. Drag that on. We want to switch to map layer. We also want to adjust the page size. Yep, that all looks very familiar. Okay, so now we want token, and then I need to find I've got an animated traps set. I do believe. Animated doors and chests. I don't remember getting that. What's animated about it? It's not moving, it's just sitting there. Oh, there it goes. Interesting, that's kind of cool. Ooh, open chest with items. I don't think I bought this. Maybe it was gifted, or maybe it was just a Roll20 Pro perk. Every so often you get some bonus stuff. Animated dungeon traps, there we are. Yeah, this is particularly cruel. Okay. Whoops. Let's bring in a saw from the floor. Right in this little passage. Very interesting. Gonna need a wider path. Okay, let's just say for whatever reason somebody buried them out here in the grass. Okay, so first and foremost we're gonna change that to the GM layer so only I can see it. We will select this item and then we're gonna click this trap maker button on the bottom and this whole bunch of stuff comes up. Get to name it, all kinds of different features right here. The name, let's say saws, ground saws, why not? I'm not feeling particularly inventive right now. It's a trap. Inexplicably, there are mechanical saws buried in the sod. Submit that for disabled, no. Show GM only, no. Secret notes, I tend to not use any of that. I don't really ever have the trap visible for GM only to see. Hey, welcome back. I rarely ever have that set because I want the players to be able to see. The trigger area is the some of these I'm a little vague on. I don't recall exactly, but I think self rectangle would basically just mean that the token itself. Trigger collision, we'll see how that works. If it's going to move the token to the center upon triggering this. If it affects flying tokens, it does detect that as well. There is fluffy wing status, how you can see right there. You have to activate one of the icons, not the winged ones that we use with the different 5, 10, 15 elevation markers. There's a default one that just looks like a black and white wing. If that icon is on your token, that is the trap maker's indication that you are flying over the trap. So it's kind of cool that there's an option for that. Delay activation can be particularly devious if you are not using the trap in a combat scene and you just want to have it first person that steps over it sets like a real world 30-second countdown, so it gives the rest of the party time to kind of shuffle up there, and then all of a sudden the trap just alerts them that they are affected by it. Activation area itself, you can assign special effects to this, so it'll like actually like have blood spraying or like a bomb go off or something, but I've never been able to get that to work. Likewise, sound effect. I think I was able to get that to work once, because there's the jukebox through Roll20, and you can add all kinds of different stuff here. Yep, you can see the Final Fantasy soundtrack that I have, Final Fantasy VI, as a matter of fact, added into here, but due to copyright restrictions, we do not play that. I actually have all, goodness, like pretty much every Final Fantasy soundtrack, which used to be a great musical backdrop for our games, but sadly, me and Nobuo Uematsu are not like this, so I can't ask him for permission. If anybody is tight with Nobuo, though, tell him I'm his like third or fourth biggest fan, and would greatly appreciate being able to use his music on our streams. Worth a shot. But back here, yes, I've never gotten that. Chain trap IDs, I've managed to do this once, where I linked a pressure plate to a crushing wall trap in another hallway, so that the players who had gone past it and were exploring the hallway were affected by the last player to come by who stepped into that pressure plate trap. It's a complex thing to load up. It was way more trouble than it was worth. For something like that, I'm more likely nowadays to just say, okay, everybody hold right here, this is what happens, and here's what falls. But once in a while, just to not let players get too comfortable with wandering around the map to their heart's content, I do like to throw in a little surprise like this. Detection properties, max search distance. Let's say, typically you got to be pretty close to these things, so we're going to say 5 feet. And that creates a little search radius around the trap for me to see. Detection message. There is something very strange about the sod in this area. You have the choice of detecting the trap. Is it going to reveal the trap, or is it just going to indicate to the characters that something is there? API command, you can likewise link scripts and macros to this. That's a very advanced feature I don't mess with. It automatically detects the character sheet we're using. Here's the nuts and bolts of the trap itself. Is it attacking? What kind of damage? Does it do half damage on a save? What is the save? What is the passive perception DC to detect this? Let's make it 15. Let's put this for a dex saving throw. What is the DC for the dex? We'll make it the same 15. Hide the save result only to the GM. Nope, we don't want that. Is it half damage on a successful save? Yes. What damage? It's pretty heinous, so we'll do fireball damage here, 8 dice 6. And it has no attack bonus. It's not attacking you, it's based off of your saving throw. So now you can see here in the chat, every time I added a new feature to this trap, it created an entirely new block of trap features, but all of it took throughout the entire process, if I understand this correctly. So now let's test this out. Let's get a dwarf for El Generico. Oh boy. There we go. Okay. This is how many sets I have that have dwarves in them, apparently. Halflings. Sure. Let's use this angry halfling diplomat-looking guy for El Generico. This is another thing as well for building your games. When building characters, you need to link the token to the character. I like to have the name tag showing. Green health bar represents any number of things that you want it to attach to, but we like to use hit points. The players can see the text overlay. That's the difference between when I set up the red health bar for the monsters and the green health bar for the players. I make it so that the players can see it, but the text overlay is only visible to me, whereas for the players it's visible to everyone. Blue I tend to use for armor class, although that does not always set correctly, I have found, so I like to go back to the character sheet just to ensure that is good. Yep, 16 looks alright. Player character sheets, the Roll20 macros tend to line up a little better. It's the monsters that don't really connect when I'm setting up the tokens like this as well. Likewise, dynamic lighting, vision, I want to set that. Night vision, yes, we're going to give you 60 feet. Any tool tips that we want to add here? This dwarf is pretty cool. This Darf is pretty cool. This dwarf is pretty cool. There we go. We'll show that. So now when we hover over that, that's how we get that little text overlay. And let's check my character sheet. I don't know how I'm going to interact with this trap when I try to approach it. I'm guessing not favorably. Okay, so I am not trained in perception, so my passive perception is an 11. So let's just step up on this thing. And what happens? Nothing at all, as should be the case. I have not triggered the trap. I also have not detected it. All looks clear here. Let's keep on moving, and let's hope that Admiral Akbar has a message for us. There it is. So yes, I did get pulled into the center of the trap. You can see the description I posted there. Inexplicably, there are mechanical saws buried in the sod. It lists the target. It automatically rolls a saving throw for your character. It shows that I got a natural 20, so I beat the DC, and it automatically rolls the damage of 13. Unfortunately, I have 12 hit points, so I'm at 0. So let's see what would happen in a world where El Generico was a little more experienced with perception. Let's add that. And we will even say that at some point in time, he was blessed with a bonus to his perception score of +3. Kind of a random thing to have happen. Likewise, maybe he could have gotten expertise in perception. So if you ever need to adjust things in your skills, here is the place to do so. But now that his perception is a little better, let's have him try and check out this trap now. Oh, El Generico notices a trap. The little yellow icon appears. That is all that your characters will see on your side. You, of course, won't see the bladed saws until the trap is sprung, but anybody with a significant passive perception will detect this as the trap's area of effect with any information that I posted down there. So, not too cool, not too bad. It's a pretty cool upgrade right here that I seldom make use of. It does take a few minutes to set up ahead of time. But every so often, you will notice as you're walking along, just Admiral Akbar appear in the middle of the chat to tell you, it's a trap! Alright. That gets us going right there. On to the next process, which is magic item pricing. What are we looking at here? I think I got one more Toki, which I will take, and then we'll take a little halftime to reload and come back and check on that. And yeah, this will be the hardest part of doing this for me is that. I don't care for it. I make no secret of my preference for dark mode. We're also going to want to move the chat box, I think, for a little friendly usage right there. As a matter of fact, you can't even see it against this backdrop, so maybe but we're going to be jumping back and forth to here where you can see it. So I guess the trick is we find a place where it's not overlapping the chat there. And okay, I think that'll work. Not the prettiest, not the worst though. So, Westy, it's been over 6 months, brother, and the concern is real. The wishes and prayers for your well-being are very frequent, my friend. And without you, I don't know that this project would have ever come to fruition. It is he who we have to thank for assorting these lists right here, compiling all of the magic items from all of the different books that we have. And he passed these over to me for pricing, which I thought I was done. I had gone through all the DMG, the Xanathars, the Tasha's guides. But it turned out there are still many, many books worth of items left to tend to. So no sooner had I finished this and he updated and added these spreadsheets to our Discord server than he texted me that he went through our new books and added all of these items. I'm guessing any with red are things that he wanted me to pay particular attention to, especially something called the Bugle of Reviving. He knows Westy saw into my psyche and my way of running games that few people do. Even some players that have been with me for a great number of years. Westy saw where the areas of the game are that I'm malleable and where the areas that I'm pretty firm. And reviving is definitely one that I try to keep a wary eye on, because we come from those old school gaming sensibilities where 0 HP means you're dead. So even 10 years plus after 5e's innovation, there's still some rules that die hard. And I'm trying to come around on some of them. Others have been easier. But flight, revival, illusionist bracers, some of these items are definitely ones that I keep an eye out for, maybe perhaps a bit more than others. This Shovel of Animation, I'm curious to see why he highlighted that one for me, but we've got like 130 magic items to go through here, so I don't know that we'll get them all done today, but maybe at least a third or a half of them. And no better place to start than the beginning-ish. You're going to see a little method to my madness here, because I'm going to try to break these up by the source books. So I'm basically going to claim the top item from each one so that we at least have a little break in these lines. And it's going to make it easier for me to sort through this going forward. So first and foremost, we've got the Akasit Blade. And actually, I stand corrected. We're not going to be doing that at all until we go through the sorting process. Right now, it's just pricing. The most tedious side of it. But let's do it. The Akasit Blade. From the Tome of Beasts 2. Interesting. Huh. Didn't realize there were player-usable magic items in that book. It's a rare dagger from the arm blades of a defeated Akasit. That makes sense, that's why. You can use an action to sense a small prescience for 1 minute. If you are attacked by a creature within 5 feet, you use your reaction to make an attack with the dagger. Okay, if your attack hits, it loses its prescience, cannot be activated again until the next dawn. It's a +1 weapon with an extra, is how I basically define that, which means it's going to be anywhere between 4 and... Or wait a second, it's a rare weapon, so our +1 weapons start at, I believe... Okay, so rare we're on to +2 weapons, so 3,000 plus cost. I don't know if this is as useful. This is not as useful as a +2 weapon. This is a +1 weapon that once a day you could do something cool. So I'm already thinking less than 3,000. It's going to be between 500 and 3,000 would be the mark right now. Trying to look at other items here just to get an idea. Elixir of Health, that's a one-shot. 1100, 900, Kaganisti Forest Shroud. kind of thinking 900. 900 is where we're at. So up next we've got the Docent. Got these in 2 different source books. He identified the one from the Vecna guide. A metal sphere can only be attuned via Warforged. You must embed it on your body, such as your chest or eye socket. It is a sentient item. It's highly mental based, perceives the world through your senses. It can communicate telepathically. When you end your turn with 0 hit points, this thing can stabilize you. Huh. Life support, very interesting. Knows additional languages. Has some skills that I'm assuming it can lend to you via telepathy. Has spells. And it has a personality to advise and assist the Warforged it's attached to, including acting as translator. If you have a bad relationship with your docent, it might refuse to assist you. That seems pretty useful. There's a lot of different things, but it's also specific, can only be used by Warforged. And likewise, as a sentient item, it's going to have some trickery in that respect. See if we have anything that might register as close to that. Right now I'm kind of thinking around the 3,500 to 4,000 mark. Cloak of the Bat is 3,000. Let's check that out. That's another tricky part here, is because it's been 7 or 8 months since I did this last time. I'm not in the same headspace of assigning prices as accurately and as consistently as I was then. So now it's trying to go back and see, okay, here's what I was doing with this. This is attunable by anybody. Yep. Dim light or darkness. You can fly. If you ever fail to grip the edges, you lose the flying speed. You can also polymorph into a bat. And that's 3,000. So yeah, 35 to 4,000 seems about right. Based off of that. Not quite 5,000. I don't know that it's like the most useful of rare items, but it's up there. I like it. Yep, we're going to go with... Let's do 3,800. Then we move on to the Mind Blade. Volo's Guide. Mind Flayers can turn any non-magical sword into a Mind Blade. Only one other creature can attune to it, either the Mind Flayer or one of its thralls. It's a normal sword. If it's in the hands of its intended wielder, it deals 2d6 extra psychic damage. That's pretty money. 25% complete on that community challenge I see posting through there. Good on you, Roleplaying Unlimited. Are you with us? That Mind Blade is cool and also looks a little familiar. Every so often we'll get an item that I've already gone through. I don't think it was here. It definitely wouldn't be common, so I might have just scrolled across it at some point in time. That is very specific, but very badass as well. If somebody could get one of those that a Mind Flayer customized for them, I definitely think 2d6 extra damage per swing is worth a full 5,000. That's going to be one of the more costly rare items. You notice that not one item exceeds the rules as recommended. 500 to 5,000 is our cost. The only items that break that rule so far are in the very rare category. And that was a judgment call on my behalf because I definitely experienced a few times how out of hand this can get, especially when you have significant downtime for your adventures, like we did have numerous times during Coalescence Act 1 through 3. Any of the manuals or tomes. So yeah, the Manual of Quickness of Action, 75,000. The Manual of Gainful Exercise, Bodily Health. And the Tome of Leadership and Influence, 75, 75, 75. Technically, these items should be between 5,000 and 50,000. These are the exceptions because they do add a +2 permanently to an attribute that the book is assigned to. And when I had the open magic item inventory to where players could just access this list at any time, and I've got this much gold, so I'm going to buy these items and these books, and we've got 8 weeks of downtime, so I'm going to read this and read this and read this, and I was, oh my dear God, what have I done? So those items are a bit higher price point specifically for that reason. We're never going to have a situation where there's just a library of these books that every player can freely go and choose from. That will never happen again, but when they do come up in the inventory, they will be costly decisions because a +2 permanently to an attribute is no small thing. Otherwise, every other item I do believe falls within the recommended guidelines. We're going to check the Mind Lash next. Decided to do the multi-stream on Facebook again for the first time in a while, and doesn't look like anybody's hanging out in Facebook land, so I'm going to turn that off now, save my phone a little juice here, and if you are catching us on Facebook, come join us in Twitch to join in on the chat. This is another Mind Flayer item. Okay. Extra psychic damage, also a wisdom saving throw or have disadvantage on your mental saves for a minute. It's a finesse weapon, it's a reach weapon. Whew. That's very handy in its own respect. I would argue 5,000. Shield of Far Sight. What does that do for us? The Shield of Far Out, man. I can see into the plaid, man. Mind Flayer. That's another Mind Flayer item. Are these books all from the Mind Flayer's Guide to Brain Delicacies? Oh, it's Volo's Guide. Okay, so I guess we just stumbled upon a section. You harvest an eye from an intelligent humanoid and you magically implant it on the outer surface of a shield, which becomes a magic item. Thereupon you can give the shield to a thrall or hang it in its lair, and the Mind Flayer can see through the shield's eye, which has a dark vision of 60 feet. And the Mind Flayer can also use its Mind Blast action as if it were standing behind the shield. Wow, and if the Shield of Far Sight is destroyed, the Mind Flayer that created it is blinded for half a day to a day on average. Okay. It's also it's just a basic shield, so it's not a magical shield as far as adding to your armor class. It's very specific as well. I'm thinking kind of around the 3,500 mark. What is this Fate Dealer's deck? Attunement by a cleric or paladin. While holding this deck, it is a spellcasting focus, does all the usual stuff that a arcane focus would do. Additionally, you can draw a card as an action and expend one of your hit dice and add the deck's bonus to the number rolled. One creature you can see within 30 feet takes either radiant damage or regains hit points equal to the total. That's pretty cool. Let's see. The Peregrine Mask is totally cool. I mean, there's no argument about it that it is a very useful item, and definitely one of the cooler, very rare items, because you don't have to try to control yourself through your ankles or be holding on to a broom or edges of a back cloak or anything like that. Okay, so this already has a standard. We're looking at the wraps. No. Okay, so this is stepping it up to a new level, because what is the +2? Very rare, and then this is legendary? Interesting. Huh. Okay, well that changes my scale, because I think I was doing 3,000, 30,000, and something like that. 300, 3,000, 30,000, I think were the scales for these items. But I can't make this 300 as a rare item. $500, you can add it. Spend one of your hit dice. Okay, okay. It's an item. It's an arcane focus, but a little bit better. So I'm thinking this will be towards the bottom of the price range here. Let's do it. 500. And then just to make sure I keep the same standard across the board, Fate Dealer's deck +2, this is going to be 5,000. And then Legendary, the Fate Dealer's deck +3 will be 50,000. Okay. That's one thing I did try to overhaul when I went through all of this last year is I wanted armor to be more expensive than offense, because 5e I feel lends itself to that system. They want players to be able to deal damage, but they also have made everything. They've given monsters more hit points than in previous editions. They've scaled armor class to where it's all kind of relative. Every character can expect to take some degree of damage. Likewise, on the monster side, you're very rarely going to see anything over a 25. Of course, the Coalescence being its own beast, because we have players who can optimize armor class very well. I, on my side, likewise, will ensure that these characters can still be challenged in any given scene. But just trying to keep everything scaled as well. You'll notice that armor plus armor is 5,000. And then 50,000 for the very rare. And then legendary. Actually, I've never assigned costs to legendary items because there are no plans to make them available for purchase. So that explains this listing right here and why there are no... Yeah, it does not look like Westy included the items from the DMG on this, because there's no +3 armor. So I don't know if this list is anything I'm ever going to add prices to, but just for consistency, I did carry that 5,000 over to the 50,000 in that regard. Okay, so that's Fate Dealers. Now we go to the Ancestral Staff of House Alderaan, or whatever that is. Ancestral Staff. Being fast has its perks. I arguably thought that was the best perk among all of the epic boons when we first rolled out the T3 subscription in mid-2023, and I assigned an epic boon to it. It didn't used to be players can choose the epic boon that they want. It was just the epic boon of speed, because I thought nobody would argue with being able to move twice as fast as they normally do. But I had almost immediately somebody say, I mean, that's really cool, but can I pick this one instead because it fits my character better? Sure, we'll do that. Okay, Ancestral Staff has charges. Pretty much any caster can attune to it. Looks like Paladin is our big outlier in that respect. Giant Insect, Insect Plague, or Conjure Swarm. You can also cause a swarm of harmless insects in a 30-foot radius for 10 minutes. Okay, well, let's check our staffs here. Staff of Swarming Insects. What's the difference? Okay, so this does Giant Insect and Insect Plague. Has the same number of charges, costs the same number of charges. Likewise, you can do the same Insect Cloud, so it's basically an improved version of this. It just adds the the Conjure Swarm spell to it. That could be huge. What does Conjure Swarm give you? Matawaka. Ugh. No, thank you. I don't know what that is. Conjure Swarm. Uh-oh. Oh, dear. What item is that book from? Tavern Tales Volume 1. That was the name, wasn't it? It was the Conjure Swarm, isn't that what it was called? Yes. If I click that, it brings me to this thing here. Okay. Don't show me again. Third party SRD. You can do this. You can do this. Is this Kobold Press? Hard to tell. I don't think it is. Okay. We will allow it. It's going to be a little tricky for people to find the specifics of the item. But if it's 3,700 for that one, let's go 4,700 for the upgraded version and move over to Atreya. The Silent Point. What is this? Holy moly. It's a +2 spear that gives you a +1 to your AC. That's money. That's 5,000 guaranteed. No, not even a second thought. The Burden Bearer's Dagger. Magic item intended to be used for live sacrifices by a necromancer cult. Anyone who's injured, wisdom saving throw, or be charmed by a round. On a successful save, it will not fight. It will not affect the target again. Yeah, we're gonna scale it right back down. We go from 5,000 to, let's make it 600, slightly over the minimum value. Yeah, and the other side of this will be, because I have to create a new magic item list. I don't know if you guys if you guys noticed, if anybody did, I would probably put Kimberly in that boat. Able to discern the dice rolls that I'm rolling for determining magic items and linking it up with the spreadsheets that we're looking at right here. But after the first week, I immediately realized I don't want to use those spreadsheets to roll the random chances because it's just a catch-all. All the items of every category are mixed in there. and I wanted there to be a separation between items and expendables. So now you notice in weeks 2 and 3 that separation exists, but only because I created an entirely separate spreadsheet and rollable table for all of those categories. And even once I finish all this and add these items into the spreadsheet that you can all look at, I then have to go back through that rollable table that I created to make sure that these items can now be included on future mercantiles. So we're still paving ground here, but we'll get there. What do we got here? A poison. Elicit a confession. It's a truth serum with a very high con save. That is pretty good. Calming Canter. Let's check some of our other potions of this level. Mind Reading 200, Superior 500, Vulnerability 200. Some of the potions likewise don't adhere to the recommended scale of range, because they say 500 to 5,000, and some of these potions I just couldn't even justify doing 500 for. The same might be the case with this Canter's Calming Canter, although this might be a little better. Clairvoyance, Gaseous Form, Heroism. I'm kind of feeling like this one's going to be around the Heroism point, so we're going to go 300. Doom Guard is next. Any disagreements or anything on the prices being assigned? How do you guys feel about the approach here? Generally try to give every item a good 30 to 60 seconds, compare it with what we have on the board. Mistakes are bound to be made. I'm sure somebody will find a loophole one day and be like, how come this item costs more than this one when this does this and this does that? Oh, you know what? You're right, because I didn't compare directly those two items. But overall, I think this works out for us. Ooh, a +2 dagger that comes with an inherent shield spell. Interesting. +2 weapons go for 3,000 plus the cost of the weapon. And having how many shield spells? 1 die 4 -1, so you get 3 shield spells to start, and anywhere between 0 and 3 per day. I would say 3,000 and maybe 250 per casting of shield. How much is a shield scroll? I think that's a common item. Shield scroll level 1 is 50. So that's an expendable version. This is a rechargeable, so I do take that into account. But maybe 200 per shield spell instead of 250, so let's say 3,600 in total. Can make all the expendables 100 gold, and then I'm done in like 5 minutes. Yes, at the expense of so much grief and heartache in the months ahead. Okay, Hypnotic Veil, a violin, interesting. Yep. No attunement. Carved out of a single piece of oak. About 70 hours. It's not bad considering I carved it by hand out of one piece of wood. Magical energy can be focused on a number of targets equal to charisma modifier while performing. Rechargeable item, and it's got some random effects here based on your performance check. They are hostile towards you for a number of minutes. They are not driven to immediate violence, however, they will try to force you to stop playing. Told you we don't want to hear that Macarena anymore. The music acts as a calm emotion spell, DC 14 charisma save. Charm effect, DC 16. They will be unaware of the charm, that's handy. 20 or higher, a charisma save, or be hypnotized for hours with no additional saving throws. If they can make a check again if it will result in direct physical harm. Interesting. It's an instrument of the bards, but very specific. So let's compare 5,000 and 5,000 are the two levels we're looking at here, although these come with a lot of spells that you don't have to roll a performance check for. This one is a bit more circumstantial. I'm thinking let's not quite 4,000, but just about. Okay, what's the end of our list? 331, and we're up to 214. All right, living death. I was just trying to be helpful. I appreciate it. Okay, I've got some. What is all this? Not something there. Oh, very true. Very true. I see what you're talking about there. Yeah, I have seen that before. Check on that. How many potions of supreme healing can you carry? I mean, 64 square feet worth if you have a bag of holding. Potentially more if you've got yourself a, what is it, Here's Handy Haversack? Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's check. Yep, nothing there. Alright, Living Death is a poison. Alright. They appear to be dead, basically. It makes it appear that they've been poisoned by the mark of the Arbiter. And a creature given a dose of Living Death must succeed on a con save or gain the unconscious condition for 2 minutes. The recipient seems dead by all standard measures. Succeeding on, and then appears that our thought trailed off there and we deemed it necessary to start a new paragraph. I'm sorry, I don't mean to pick on words. It's just, words are all I have, so I'm very particular. A DC 20 Wisdom Medicine check determines the creature is still alive. Healing spells will not revive as they are not actually dead. 24 hours after ingesting the poison, the bruising dissipates, the character regains consciousness. 24 hours? See, am I missing something here? Is this... Let's say you fail your con save. It specifically says you're unconscious 2 minutes. But then the second paragraph says 24 hours after ingesting this poison, you regain consciousness. So which is it? Is it 2 minutes or is it 24 hours? This is exactly the kind of problems that I had with Cobalt Press. Like, it's a cool idea, but it's, I mean, unless I'm missing something, they're contradicting themselves with their own verbiage here. Is this how you guys all see it too? I mean, take a look at this thing. Duration 24 hours. Any creature given a dose of Living Death must succeed on the con save or gain the unconscious condition for 2 minutes. Recipient seems dead by all standard measures. Succeeding on this reveals that the creature is still alive, after which you would assume that they'll regain consciousness still after 2 minutes. Healing spells don't work, right? 24 hours after ingesting, you regain consciousness. Wow, that's like the most lethal poison ever if it's an automatic 2 minutes unconsciousness, even on a successful save. Like, I don't know ninth level spells that do that. Take somebody out for 20 rounds if you make the save? I don't know. That seems cruel. It should cost like 100 million gold pieces. It takes 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, or gain the unconscious condition after 2 minutes. Huh. Okay, good spot there. Good spot. Yep, that's me missing between the lines. Good spot. Good spot. Okay. So yeah, it's not something you instantly hit somebody in mid-combat and then they're out for a day. So it does have a little window of operational capacity there. I think 24-hour unconsciousness, that's still pretty hefty, but it's a one-use item. Our highest value one-use item right now is 500. 900 for the fireball. 1800 for the fireball. 24-hour unconsciousness. I think we'll split the difference of a sort and we'll make it 1300 per vial. Let's be specific about that. Each. Okay, Sycorax's Opal Necklace. Attunement necessary when attuned. You can create an extra dimensional space once per day. Requires concentration. Failed, ends the effect. It's a mirror image of the area it was created in. 150-foot radius sphere that the weather and time of day is of your choosing. Loops infinitely inside, does the landscaping. Any creature inside the sphere when it's cast will be transported to the extra dimensional space. It lasts up to 24 hours and can be dispelled at will by the caster. What is this? Okay. Create an extra dimensional space once per day. That's badass. Requires concentration. It's limited in scope. You can choose what it's like inside. Any creature inside when the spell is cast will be transported. There's no saving throw. Lasts up to 24 hours. It is concentration based, but yeah, this is almost like an automatic escape, automatic capture, if I had to guess. Looking at it, it's specific. It's got caveats, but it is an automatic. Automatic effects are worth their literal weight in gold, so we're gonna dial it right to the top. 5,000. Talisman of the Steadfast Root. Highly improved mace on offense. Yeah. There's our talisman. What do we get? You are immune to all time-altering effects, including but not limited to time stop and reverse. You are considered anchored in time. There's no attunement necessary. It's a very fragile talisman, however. It can potentially be broken very easily. Yeah, it only has 6 HP. Wow. Damn. I mean, that is very specific, but very powerful, but very fragile. So we're gonna not quite go to the top, but close to 3,900. Mimir is up next. Ooh, 100%. Gotta love the things that make you happy. My cell phone is at 100%. Oh, woo, woo, woo. Oh, woody, woo, woo. Okay. Mimir, planescape item. Okay. Requires attunement. It's a device receptacle. Weighs 5 pounds. Has a bonus action. You can toss it up. Mechanical on how to retrieve it. Mechanical on how much damage it can take. Pretty hefty thing here. While it's floating, you can use an action to cast Legend Lore. The device speaks the revealed lore aloud once per day. This has planar knowledge. While it's floating, it verbally answers questions you or anyone pose to it about that topic. It knows information about the planes from the DMG, as well as basic information about the gate towns of the Outlands. I wonder why it's attunement required. Seems almost not cool, he said, for lack of a better definition. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Name a person, place, or object. You get to know stuff. Information you learned is accurate. Might be couched in figurative language. Legend lore is level 5. Well, this is a handy thing to look up because I've been trying to figure out where our Libra monster identification spell will fall in or whatever, and this is a arguably a worse version of that spell with a 10-minute casting time, a hefty component cost, and it's all like cryptical. That's not cool. Yeah, we're gonna throw this one on the lower end. 2,000. The Flying Chariot. I mean, hopefully this is as cool as it sounds. The chariot's riders and creatures pulling the chariot gain a +1 to AC. If it's being pulled by one or more flying creatures, it too can fly. So you got to get yourself a flying creature, and then you can have a flying chariot, and you get a +1 to your AC. That's wildly useful and wildly specific. I think. How much are our wings of flying? 5,000. How about that cape of the Montabac? 3,000. Limited though. Alright. Seems about right. Flying Chariot, even 4K. Helm of the Gods. Celestial Fiend identification. Long rest, and you can store a spell in the helm, replacing one that's already there. Now, I guess it depends on which deity the helm is attached to, so some pretty low-level decently useful abilities right here. Doesn't provide an AC bonus. It requires attunement. It's very specific. We're gonna go pretty low on this baby right here. 1800. Molten bronze skin. Wow, who's selling their skin? Fire resistance. And it's basically be attached to metal armor. Alright. Isn't there armor of resistance? I believe that was uncommon. Armor of resistance. No. It's not very rare, is it? Nope. Oh, there it is. 5,000. I mean, this is basically doing the same thing, but very specific to fire. Unlike other armor, it does require attunement. I don't think regular armor requires any attunement. A familiar could technically pull it. That's funny. My little owl. Armor can be worn under normal clothes. Doesn't impede. You don't have... The armor loses disadvantage on stealth checks. That's pretty cool upgrade. Not quite as cool as +1 armor, though. I would argue also not as good as armor of resistance, but let's check. If it's at least as good, then it'll be the same. Okay. So different elements, and it does not remove the stealth penalty. It's also able to be used on light or medium in addition to heavy. It seems about as good across the board, so yeah. Defense. Potion of Aqueous Form. That looks very familiar. Are there different versions of that? Potion of Animal Friendship, common. Alright, well there was something else of aqueous form that I already did then. Alright. Oh, there it is. Ah, the Crystal of Aquatic Action. Aqueous form, gaseous form, very close as well, yep. You transform into a pool of water. Don't drink me. Okay, you can swim, you can move through liquids, you can enter and occupy the same space, you can rise up to your normal height. Resistance to non-magical, no talking, attacking, casting spells, or activating magic items. Any objects you are wearing meld into your new form and are inaccessible. Alright. Yeah, it's basically a potion of gaseous form, but water. So, I'd say the same 450. Boom. Cast Destroy Water. Ah! Siren Song Leer. Decently basic charm spells. Pretty moderate saving DC as well. Kind of feeling like that one would be reasonably low on the overall chart here. The Toe Birds Sling, or is it Two Birds Sling? Sometimes I'll find a typo. Toe Bird. Two Bird. With a hyphen. There it is. It's a +1 sling. The ammo ricochets toward a second target, and you get a second attack against that person. Ammunition, always very straightforward. That's kind of cool. Not as cool as a +2 weapon. Double attack potential though, with a sling. We'll set that at 1100 and change the name here so we don't have anybody accidentally. I can't find it. Anklet of Hobbling. Okay, your speed is reduced to half. Can only be placed on an unwilling creature if the creature is incapacitated. Well, that's good. You and any creature you designate can use an action to remove it. Once every 10 days, the creature bound can make a strength check to break it out. Every 10 days? Ooh. That's kind of cool. Kind of specific. Not something we're going to find around very often. We'll double the cost of the last one. Aquamarine of spell something something. Extending. Alright. 3 charges. You can use a bonus action and double the duration of any spell cast that has a duration of at least 1 minute. Attunement required. So you gotta burn one of your attunement slots to double durations of certain spells. That's probably a flat 2000, I think. Armband of Healing. Purple Fire. This copper armband bears the insignia of 2 stags prancing around a staff. Any healing spell you cast cures the max number of HP once per day. It's kind of like Johnny's unique power, but very limited in that respect. I forget, did they want attunement for that? Nope. That's fitting then. We'll set that in an even, ironically an odd 1500, but still even. Badge of, looks like we got 2. Valor and Freedom. Advantage against being frightened. Takes your attunement though. Nothing can reduce your speed, and you're immune to paralysis and restrain. Also requires attunement. Ooh. How does that compare with the Ring of Free Action, though? Also a rare item. Difficult terrain doesn't cost you movement. Magic cannot reduce your speed. So that's the same thing. Ring of Free Action is basically the better version of the Badge of Freedom. Ring of Free Action is 4,700. Let's go 3,200 for that. Badge of Valor was what again? People can't be frightened around you, or advantage anyway. Takes your attunement, 2,500. Do a couple more here before we close this out. We're not going to do a halftime break, just going to make it a slightly shorter one and get ready for tonight's finale. Try to get to 231 so we have 100 left to tend to. The nag of flame. Try that again. How about the bag of flame? The flaming nag. Okay, 3 charges. Each creature in a 15-foot cone. Deck save, fire damage. Summon a fire snake. Your first wife. I got my first and my last wife right outside there. Never be another. Creatures friendly to you and your companions. Roll initiative for the fire snake. Fire shield gives you immunity to fire for 10 minutes. Okay, well, what is a fire snake? How buff is this thing? It's a salamander. CR1, 22 HP. Pretty minimal damage. It's like summoning a familiar, but a little bit better. Can use that. And it's 2 charges to do that. Eek. Or all your charges to gain immunity to fire damage. Yeah, that's nothing too crazy. Even grand. Balance of judgment. Much love, friends. Nothing but love. A small set of brass scales with a piece of hair, scrap of nail, or the like is placed. It raises if the owner of the scrap is of good alignment and sinks if they're of evil. For neutral, it remains motionless. Very interesting. Alignment identification item. I hear you. Yeah, it's totally change is not easy for most people to deal with. I count myself in that category. Bead of accuracy, our final item of the day. Wow, look at that. It's like a tracking beacon on a failed save. It sticks to him for the next minute. Every ranged attack against that target gets advantage and can't be removed except by a wish spell. That could have been handy on the merchants. Oh, those Vong. Those traitorous Yuuzhan Vong. Otherwise can't be removed except with a wish spell. I adore you. That's kind of cool. It's reusable as well, so I do like that aspect of it. I'm going to put that at an even 33. And we will save the rest of this for another time. We'll close that out. Close that out, and yep, if it's any surprise, that's my wallpaper right there. Let's go to our ending soon bit right here. I suppose I'm not even going to create a camera just for this little closing bit right here, but thank you, friends. It's been a pleasure today in your company going through some of this organizational necessity. We will be back in about 4.5 hours with the Monday night mid-season finale for Coalescence Act 5. We'll see you then, friends, with some RU Gaming. Have a great rest of your day.
Follow